presentation of Major League Baseball International.
It comes but once a year, as autumn blankets the boys of summer.
Been waiting for it all to come together.
And change is quite literally in the air.
Counting the stars to see if they've aligned.
As the temperature drops, the great ones rise to meet the moment. Post-season battles covered a continent, as a dozen teams laid eyes on the prize.
Watch a dream come to life.
An old rivalry renewed would end with a crisp Big Apple victory, as the evergreen ivy stayed alive in the Windy City. A red-hot crew was swept out west by the defending champs, while Midwest Guardians were upended by underdogs. As the winds of change continued to blow, a pinstriped savior could not outblast those from the land of the maple leaf. Nor could the promise of an Eastern juggernaut ring true against a relentless band of blue brothers.
Throws to the plate, he throws it away, and the Dodgers have won!
Big Cats from the Motor City clawed their way to an epic extra innings showdown.
Polanco sends it into right, and will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series!
But in this winner-take-all, the Trident rose to the top. Chi-Town also pushed it to 5, but could not withstand blustery headwinds of some above-average Joes.
Watch a dream come to life. This is only the beginning.
In the battle for the senior circuit crown, the many talents of the top seed failed to take root and were blown away.
Terang, a swing and a miss. Trinan closes the door.
Blamed the icy blue chill thrown their direction, while the best player the game may ever see harvested a performance for the ages.
Oh my goodness! Up and over the roof!
Then, in a cross-border tilt, seafarers from Seattle came out swinging, but lost their way in a barrage of long balls. And when Springer finally sprung, Northern neighbors punched their ticket to the first title shot in more than 30 years. What began with promise for 12 exceptional clubs has been beaten and battered down to the final 2. The best of the best with everything on the line. Welcome to the magic and majesty of the Fall Classic.
Watch a dream come to life.
Welcome to Major League Baseball International special presentation of the 2025 World Series. It's Game 1 on a beautiful fall night in Toronto inside the Rogers Center. The National League champion Dodgers and the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. LA, so much star power from Shohei Ohtani, the best player in the world, leading the way for LA, coming off an historically great performance to wrap up the NLCS. Freddie Freeman, who had the incredible moment last year as the Dodgers won a championship. They're going for back-to-back. Blue Jays getting some star power back for Game 1. It's a big story coming into tonight. Bo Bichette missed most of September, has not played yet in the playoffs. He's healthy. He's in the lineup for Game 1 alongside his teammate Vlad Guerrero Jr. having an historically great playoffs, leading the way for that Blue Jays offense, looking for their first World Series in more than 3 decades. Hi, everybody. Dave Fleming, Ryan Spilborgs. Great to have you with us from Toronto. We expect an incredible atmosphere. There are similarities, Spilly, between these two teams, but there are also a lot of contrasts. I think this is just a terrific, terrific matchup.
Unbelievable, especially when you think about the history of baseball. The last time we saw a World Series game here in Canada, Joe Carter was rounding the bases, and if the Dodgers end up winning back-to-back, we haven't seen back-to-back World Series champs since the Yankees did it several years ago. But you're right, both these teams do a lot of things exceptionally well. From an offensive standpoint, they're very similar. Blue Jays probably the toughest team in baseball to strike out. I wanted it to be Toronto versus the Dodgers because I think Toronto has the best chance out of the American League to knock them out.
Blue Jays have played so well here at home. They're trying to do something they haven't done in a long time. Meanwhile, for the Dodgers, I don't want to say this has become old news for them, but the Dodgers dynasty rolls on. Last year, you and I were there at Yankee Stadium when they clinched in 5 games. Freddie Freeman had the walk-off grand slam, a moment we'll never forget. So a World Series title last year, the 8th in franchise history. And they decided, you know what, that championship team, not good enough. We need more. Spent the second most money of any team in the big leagues to add to their championship core. And they added beautifully. They've got so much star power for LA. And at the start of the year, people were talking about, is this team going to set an all-time wins record? It felt like the Dodgers were unbeatable. They won their first 8 games of the year. It didn't turn out that way, though. There were bumps in the road. The Dodgers lost 32 of 54. Worst stretch since Dave Roberts took over. They got things right. They got healthy. Their pitching got right. And they clinched the National League West again. 13th straight postseason appearance. Just remarkable. Second longest streak in MLB history. And in October, this has looked like the best version of the Dodgers. They have dominated. They're 9-1. They're coming off a sweep against a team that had the best record in Big League Baseball, the Brewers, in the National League Championship Series, ready to go for the back-to-back title. And they've got the most talented player in the world on their side.
And probably in baseball history, because Shohei Ohtani a season ago was just an offensive player. And this postseason, 5 home runs in 10 games. The Dodgers record is 8. Corey Seager did it in 2020. But what Corey Seager didn't do, he didn't pitch. Right now the Dodgers have 4 aces, Ohtani being one of them. Since he came back June 16th, he has been incredible. We thought, hey, what is he going to look like when he gets back on the mound? Not sure. He has been dominant. 3-1, the low ERA, and he just had probably the game that we've never seen before in the postseason, where he had 6 innings, 10 punch-outs, and 3 home runs. To give you an idea why we compare him to Babe Ruth, 500 or more strikeouts and over 100 home runs. There's only 2 people on this list, Dave. That's it. It's Babe Ruth and Ohtani. And by the way, Babe Ruth never pitched at the same time that he hit. Ohtani's doing both.
That's the list you want to be on. Me and Babe Ruth. That's pretty good. Meanwhile, for Toronto, I mean, it is a much different arc for this Blue Jays franchise. You think about it, last year, they finished last in the American League East. I think the tone was set on that date, April 7th, when this franchise committed to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It brought everybody in that clubhouse smiles on their faces. His fan base needed a boost. And look, they played great almost from the start after signing Vlad Jr. to that huge deal. Statement series against the Yankees. I think that told everybody they were for real. They really actually dominated the Yankees in the regular season. One hiccup down the stretch. Bo Bichette got hurt on a home plate slide in September. Has not played since then. He's in the lineup for Game 1 tonight. That's going to be a big story coming into this one. They ended up with 94 wins. That was tied with the Yankees, but because of that season series victory over the Yankees, they won the tiebreaker, didn't have to play in the wild card series, and came into the postseason not missing a beat. They pushed around the Yankees in that 4-game win against New York in the division series, and then an all-time classic against the Mariners. Just a crazy 7-game series. The Springer moment, nobody here will ever forget that. And then Hoffman closed it out, a 7-game clincher for the first pennant since 1993 for the Blue Jays. Vlad Guerrero Jr., Spilly, has been the best hitter in the playoffs. He has been historically great.
Fitting too, right? Because Vlad Guerrero was born in Montreal. He was born to be a Toronto Blue Jay. And then when you think about the times he's reached base safely during the postseason, 26 times. The Blue Jays record is Paul Molitor. He did it. But on top of what he's doing both defensively, it's the slugging percentage. Dave, it's a 1440 OPS in 11 games, and he's not punching out. He only has 3 strikeouts. So giving it some context, just to give you an idea, slug and contact rate, these are the 3 in the history since 2002 to do it. It's Albert Pujols, Kike Hernandez, and Vlad Guerrero. And you go back to 2004, nobody wanted to pitch to Albert. Guerrero's slugging percentage is nearly 200 points higher. I've never seen anything like it. He's controlling the strike zone. He right now, out of the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, is the best hitter on the field.
Amazing stuff in the playoffs from Vlad Jr. Despite having him on their side, the Blue Jays are underdogs coming into this World Series. When we come back, I'm going to ask ask Ryan Spilborghs, break down these rosters, tell us who has the edge. We'll do that right after this.